Hi, welcome back, and welcome to Chapter 7. And this week, we're going to talk about email and other traditional tools for business communication. Again, this is McGraw-Hill's Business Communication, Developing Leaders for a Networked World. And this is, the text is written by Mr. Peter Cardone, and it's a great text. And so I want to make sure that we are doing the things that we need to do in order to ensure that we get the most out of communicating with one another. So this week we're going to explain trade-offs associated with richness, control, and constraints when choosing a communication channel. 2, we're going to apply principles for writing effective emails and explain how to handle emotion effectively in online communications. Next, we're going to describe strategies for effective instant messaging in the workplace. Next, we're going to describe strategies for managing digital message overload. Finally, we're going to explain principles for effective phone conversations and video conferences. So, are you ready? I am certainly ready to get started on Chapter 7. Here goes. I hope you guys are enjoying this so far and that you're getting a lot from it. So let's get started. All right. In this first one, at first we're going to talk about communications channels and selecting how to select channels for communication. The medium you use to communicate could either be email, phone, or face-to-face, right? There are 3 considerations related to limitations: richness, control, and constraints. So richness means richer communication leads to more trust building, rapport, and commitment. So face-to-face is the richest communication we can have. Excuse me. The next relates to how quickly someone is able to respond or give feedback. High immediacy requires more cues. Control, the degree to which communication can be planned and recorded, allowing strategic message development. Planning implies that the communication can be tightly drafted, edited, and revised, rehearsed, and developed before delivery. Impermanence is to the extent to which the message can be stored, retrieved, and distributed to others. Constraints, practical limitations of coordination and resources. Coordination is an effort and timing needed to allow all relevant people to participate in a communication, whereas the resources is the financial space, time, and other investments necessary to employ particular channels of communication. Now, there are 2 communication channels: spoken, high in richness, but low in control. Synchronous communication, written, is that communication channel. Written low in richness, but has a lot of benefits and more formal than spoken, is asynchronous communication. Creating effective emails mean primary form of written business communication. Writing emails uses the basic principles of writing style. So Principle of effective emails include use the right purposes, ensure ease of reading, guys. We kind of went over this in chapter 6 and 5. Show respect for time, protect privacy and confidentiality, respond promptly, maintain professionalism and appropriate formality, and then manage emotions effectively and avoid distractions. So, time devoted to email by professionals, and we see 2 hours is 16%, 2 to 5 hours is 31%, 6 to 10 hours is 23, 11 to 15 hours is 10%, 16 to 20 hours, 7.2, over 20 hours is 11. These are managers primarily, and managers do spend a lot of time on email. Advantages of using: best suited for routine, task-oriented, fact-based, and non-sensitive messages. That's what you use email. Non-sensitive messages now. Few constraints: low cost, little coordination. High control, the writer can think them out carefully, and they provide a permanent record. Disadvantages: not rich, lack verbal and non-verbal cues, and immediate feedback, should not be used to criticize others, rarely appropriate for sensitive or emotional communication tasks, inefficient for facilitating discussions. So ensure ease of proof by providing a short, descriptive subject line. Keep your message brief yet complete. Clearly identify expected actions, provide descriptive signature block, and use attachments wisely. So the components of an effective email are subject line, greeting, message, closing, signature block, and attachments. If attachments are optional, if you have it. And so here's a perfect example of a less effective email. What agreement are you talking about? It doesn't say here. Terms. Why are you including this? The space in the email. All of this on the bottom. Unhelpful, incomplete signature block. Why is this important? A more effective. It has information in the subject line so people can see, oh, this is a revised. It's searchable again. The formatting, all of that is there. It has a phone number where I can reach the person, an email address. It's a better email. Please study those two formats. You want to know how things should be done. So helpful advice here, guys. Select message recipients carefully. Only send things to people who need to know it. Don't send it to everybody. Provide timelines and options. Be careful about using the priority flag, and let others know when you will take longer than anticipated to respond or take action. Avoid contributing to confusing and repetitive communication chains. So maintain professionalism and appropriate formality. So recommendations here are: avoid indications that you view email as casual communication. Apply the same standards of spelling, punctuation, and formatting you would for other written documents, and use greetings and names. All right. So use of email greetings and names, a low morale in a really high morale organization. So low morale organization is red versus green being a high morale organization. So high morale, greeting, word plus name. The next is name only, greeting, word only, no greeting. Manage emotions and maintain civility. Civility is so important. We're hearing a lot where we're seeing people don't have civility. They've lost civility anymore. Emails invoke emotions, whether intended or not. They do. Especially the higher up the chain the email comes from, the more emotion it evokes. So neutrality effect means recipients are more likely to perceive messages with intended positive emotion as neutral. Negativity effect means recipients are more likely to perceive messages that are intended as neutral as negative. So cyber silence: when an email receives no response, that's cyber silence. Let me tell you this. I have sent emails to people and sometimes they don't send them back. That is not maintaining civility. That's telling me I don't care anything about what you have to say, and I'm not going to respond to what you're talking about. Cyber incivility is the violation of respect and consideration in an online environment based on workplace norms, can be active incivility or passive incivility. Active and passive incivility for supervisors. Said something hurtful to you through emails, made to me, and this is from a supervisor. This is red as female supervisors, blue as male supervisors. This is how this comes out. Blue, meaning male supervisors, probably have said this more than the females, and or in this particular case. Passive email incivility, we see a lot of that coming from females. So this says a lot about us, guys. Step to address uncivil emails: reinterpretation, relaxation, and diffusion. You want to read, make sure you read. Okay, I want to make sure I understand what you're saying. Diffusing or uncivil emails. Focus on task-related facts and issues in your reply. Focus on shared objectives and agreements. And then express interest in arranging a time to meet in person. If meeting is not possible, attempt to establish a richer channel of communication than email. So here's a less effective response to an angry email. Check out this email. Now, we need to talk about this email when I get back in a week after the holiday. I thought we had a productive conversation about you, obviously, but you obviously were not candid or professional. Also, please enter your voicemail. I tried reaching you several times only to get a full voicemail box. Sounds confrontational, it's impersonal. So here is the email that cannot Heinz. And the other day, when we discussed the new website, you didn't give me a chance to explain my ideas, and I don't think you made the conversation fair. I tried. This thing is defensive attacking, focuses on defending rather than understanding Jacqueline's point of view, and is accusatory. Jacqueline lays blame on Hans in every regard, and then the repeated use of your you voice increases the accusatory tone. So you see what's going on here? We're going to have fun with this class, guys. I'm sure that you're running across this in some of your day-to-day work activities. And so this class is going to be so on point, and I know you're going to be better communication. I feel as though you're going to be better communicators after this course, right? Right. So most effective response to diffuse an angry email is in front of you. Meeting to improve website. Goes to the person's name. I'm sorry to hear that you did not think our conversation was fair. I'm glad you're thinking about how we can use the website to better attract younger customers. When we are both back in the office, let's set up some time to discuss plans for the website. Would you be willing to come up with your 3 major ideas for making the website more interactive and connected to our social media platforms? When we meet, I'd like to get a sense of the resources we would need to commit to your idea. We need to make more ambitious plans make business sense. We need to make sure more ambitious plans make business sense. Would you like to include anyone else in our meeting? Do you think the entire marketing team should participate in discussions? Enjoy your holiday weekend. That sounds so much better, doesn't it? So it's cordial, and it extends warm wishes. It's validating because it compliments Jackie's on her desire to improve the website. It's inviting because it asks for Jacqueline's input in terms of ideas and people who should be included in the decision-making process. And it's non-defensive. It makes clear that making business sense is an important part of the discussion, yet she does so without sounding defensive or intimidating, since she is in the position of authority. Instant messaging is a relatively new, undeveloped form of communication in the workplace. And it may be considered as impersonal and uninteresting, rude, intrusive, or inadequate, and it could be a problem, guys. So helpful tips on instant messaging would be evaluate the meta message of instant messaging. Use for simple and brief conversations, not for important decisions, and use a positive, supportive, and appropriately fun tone. Don't ask questions you can get answers to yourself. Be careful about abbreviated language, emojicons, synonyms, and emojis. Now, I it says that, but I use emojis a lot in Cinecoms to um, communicate with my audience. You'll see several things come with me from emoji, smiley face, letting you know I'm happy. I have done research and I've shown that it does help with the conversation flow. It helps the people get into the tone of, okay, that's what she means. She's happy, she's nice. This is okay. Avoid sarcasm and jokes in most cases. Avoid rescheduling meeting times or places, and consider turning off sound alerts for incoming messages or emails. Always identify yourself. Clearly in the instant message exchange, avoid personal instant messaging during work hours. Avoid sending instant messages after work hours, and establish rules with your colleagues for instant messaging during meetings. And so here's some instant messaging, great presentations to our sponsor, Hans. Hans, count me in to help with each support in any way. Thanks, Jackie, for helping set up all the computer equipment today. I couldn't have done it without you. That sounds like me with the smiley place with mix match messages. So I got reservations for 7 p.m. meeting at Roscoe's Teriyaki Bar. It's located at 714 Main Street. GR8, thanks. What does that mean? We have to cancel the meeting. Christine just called and said she has some other plans. RTP, I'm buried with other work. What is, NP, no problem. Whew, my gosh. See, that could be confusing. We don't need to do that. Do you want to bring up issues of tech support at the literacy fair? I'm not clear about which staff members will be involved. Good idea. I'll raise the issue in a few minutes. So managing your digital communication effectively also means following these guidelines. Check digital messages just 4 to 5 times each day at designated times. Wean yourself off checking your mobile devices constantly, and develop strategies to manage your inbox. Turn off message alerts. Well, what I have found in doing a lot of this, or found that to be best for a number of people, but I'll just use my example in this particular case. I have found that since I have so many phones and so many messages I receive each day, and I'm on top of it, at the end of, certain hours of the day, like every 3 hours, I may check. Make sure I go ahead and have things to do. I don't keep my phone on, in the same room with me now. I have started putting them in separate rooms so that things work out a little better. Use rich channels such as face-to-face and phone conversations to accomplish a task completely. Reply immediately only to urgent messages, and avoid unnecessary lengthening an email chain. Use automatic messages to help people know when you're available. And when we talk about avoid unnecessary lengthening of an email chain, after 2 emails, it's time to pick up the phone, all right? Don't keep emailing back and forth on the same subject. Building connections with phone conversation. Here's some guidelines for that. Guidelines for one-on-one calls in the workplace. Schedule and plan your phone calls. Ensure quality audio. Open with a warm greeting and use your caller's name. After a brief small chat, direct the conversation to the issues at hand and speak with a pleasant, enthusiastic voice. So guidelines to one-to-one calls in the workplace include share conversations time equally, give people a chance to talk, all right? Apply the rules of active listening and avoid multitasking. Take notes on important points and summarize next steps at the end of the call. Choose with appreciation and follow up on agreements. All right. Here's people's time spent on the phone each week talking. To be honest with you, I spend very little time on the phone talking. I spend a lot of time in Zoom meetings and other things where I'm doing one on one. Because we're working from a distance, I'll schedule my phone call with a Zoom call instead. And that way I'm able to see my person in person. I mean, see them. They might not be in the room with me, but I get to see them, see their face, see their body language, see the interaction with them. And I think that helps a lot better. So in the office, we have Skype and other things that we can use for that as well. So it's a good way to see people. Sample meeting request and agenda for a phone call. You can see this example here. Now, if I'm giving you an example, it probably means that we want you to try these things, okay? So it's not just because I'm just showing you, it's because we probably want to use this at some point. These are some great tools in this class, and I think they would help you in a professional environment, especially service-related areas where you're sitting and you're having to do a lot of emails. You have positions that where communication in most positions are now it's very important. This whole course is going to, if you take it in the right way, really will help you to fine tune things. Sample follow-up message with action items. Here you go. Here's some examples. So you want to make sure you look at these as well in your outline and in your text online and of course. Participating in and leading group voice and video calls. Here's some helpful tips for this, guys. Practice using technology before the group call. Use your webcam effectively, and then use interactive tools wisely. Start the call with purpose and take charge, and follow the guidelines of effective virtual meetings. And that's it for chapter 7. And this has been another great event that we've gone through. We've gone through the PowerPoint slides. I'm hoping you get a lot from this. We're going to be trying a lot of these things out in class. We've already started. And so I look forward to hearing your thoughts about what's going on with you in the world of work. Give me some examples of how you've improved on our coffee and conversation, how you've improved your communication with the people you're working with. So that's it. I'll see you in Coffee and Conversations. Take care.